live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Shitbag Roundup on the Relief Valve podcast. We're just doing a cold open right here and getting right to the show. I'm already over my time, especially with the Trump CNN thing and the other uploads from the previous week. So I've already gone over my time. So, if you enjoy the show and you've stuck with us through my little kind of week hiatus, I've been busy with family obligations, so I haven't been able to upload and get to the news like I've wanted to. But if you want to donate to the show, we're on YouTube and Rumble. You're going to see the PayPal button on there, and you can click that in order to donate to the show. And then on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, all the major streaming platforms, we're on there. If you hit the support the show, you can help donate to the show as well, and that'll give me the opportunity to purchase more upload time and eventually be able to do more shows down the road. So, as the kids say, kindly smash that like button, leave a comment, or if there's any issue donating or you're looking for other ways to be able to do so, you can also reach out to the show at reliefvalvepodcast at AOL.com and write to me directly. I will answer, and hopefully, if you're whatever issue you're having with helping the show, we can resolve it if there is one. So. Busy couple of weeks here, and there's a lot to get to. That's why I just kind of did the cold open here, and we're just going to get right to it. So, first, and we have the film and TV writers are actually on strike now, bringing production on many shows to a halt. This is good news because you have shitbags like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and all these other left wing pukes who can't do their shows. They're all in reruns right now, and that's good for the entire planet. So this is from CNN. More than 11,000 members of the Writers Guild of America are set to go on strike Tuesday morning. They're already on strike currently for the first time since 2007, a move that could bring an immediate halt to the production of many television shows and possibly delay the start of new seasons of others later this year. Though we negotiated intent on making a fair deal, the studio's responses to our proposals have been wholly insufficient, given the existential crisis writers are facing. We're running out of shit material, and we want to be given more money so that we can come up with more shit material for you, said a statement from the union leadership. They have closed the door on their labor force and opened the door to writing as an entirely freelance profession. No such deal could ever be contemplated by this membership. While union members would be on strike as of 3 a.m. on Tuesday, the WGA tweeted that it would not set up picket lines until Tuesday afternoon. The Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers, which is negotiating on behalf of studio management, responded by saying it was willing to improve on its offer but was not willing to meet some of the union's demands. The primary sticking points are mandatory staffing and duration of employment, Guild proposals that require a company to staff a show with a certain number of writers for a specified period of time, whether needed or not. So you're running your shit leftist show. You got a bunch of shitbag leftist writers writing crap jokes for you. And if you don't need all of them, they should be able to sit around on their ass and do nothing, and they will be obligated to pay them. This is some of the things. Now, I don't support any of this at all. This is all a left wing machine. It's all left wing hosts, left wing writers, left wing jokes, and just left wing anti American garbage. So they all can lose their jobs and go off the air, as far as I'm concerned. Member companies remain united in their desire to reach a deal that is mutually beneficial to writers and the health and longevity of the industry, and to avoid hardship to the thousands of employees who depend upon the industry for their livelihoods. The distance between the two sides suggested this could be the start of a long strike. The last strike, that started in November of 2007, stretched 100 days into February of 2008. So imagine the peace and quiet we're going to get of not seeing Stephen Colbert and a bunch of men in Pfizer needle outfits dancing in front of a crowd of morons. You will be saved from this, so you're welcome. More than 3 hours. Let's see. There were no scheduled talks Tuesday after the talks broke off more than 3 hours before the strike deadline Monday night, according to AMPTP. Many shows in the cable and broadcast networks have already filmed their final episodes for the current season, but viewers could see an impact with late night shows, daytime soap operas, and shows such as Saturday Night Live. No big loss there either, which could have early ends to their seasons. Jimmy Kimmel Live, another shit show, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, also garbage, will begin airing repeat episodes on Tuesday due to the film and TV writer strike, sources close to the programs told CNN. Show host Seth Meyers, another shitbag, who was on the picket line as a writer at SNL during the last strike, also prepared his viewers that Late Night with Seth Meyers won't be on the air if there's a strike. So all five of you that watch Seth Meyers' show, you're going to have to find something else to do. The strike comes at a time when both sides say they're feeling financial pain. The multi-employer contract is between the WGA and AMPTP, which represents Amazon, Apple, CBS, Disney, NBC Universal, Netflix, Paramount Global, Sony, and CNN's parent company Warner Brothers Discovery. Many of those companies have seen drops in their stock price, prompting deep cost cutting and including layoffs. But the writers, many of whom can't support themselves with writing alone, are suffering from reduced job opportunities and the loss of some sources of income due to an industry shift from traditional broadcast and cable programming to streaming services. The distance between the two sides includes a lot of complex rules and contract provisions that would make little sense to those not in the industry, but much of it comes down to money. The Writers Guild put out a summary of the two sides' bargaining positions in which it says the union's proposals would gain writers as a group about $429 million per year. AMPTP's offers about $86 million per year, and this is like all of them across all of the stations writing for multiple shows. This is what that would be their net gain for all of them. AMPTP questioned these estimates, putting out that it's hypothetical because it's unknown how many movies and shows would be ordered or renewed over the 3 years of the contract. While not all members of the WGA are currently working, the strike could soon idle thousands of other workers on the sets of shows and movies. The strike could have widespread implications for the industry and for the economies of Southern California and some other locations, such as New York City. There could be as many as 20,000 people working on as many as 600 productions who could be out of work if the writer shut down production, according to an estimate from that stupid site. The 2007 strike caused an estimated $2 billion in economic damage, mostly in Southern California. Adjusted for inflation, that comes to nearly $3 billion daily, and that makes me happy. The industry has changed radically in the 15 years since the last strike ended. Those changes have accelerated since the last round of negotiations in 2020 and the early weeks of the pandemic. The rise of streaming services changed the way audiences consume both television shows and movies, and studios adjusted their business models in an attempt to respond. Many streaming shows have much shorter seasons, perhaps 8 to 10 episodes, rather than more than 20 20 with traditional TV shows. Many shows also employ fewer writers than were on the staff in the past. All of it means less opportunities for writers to earn and work money. Hold on a second here. That's an idiot Joe Biden. Okay, so yeah, they're talking about streaming and how they're needing less staff to do all this. You know, the other thing is Chat GPT and the AI. People have been saying as far as jobs like that, where the AI, there's obviously some things the AI can't do right now. They can't step into a job and start working in a factory or something like that. But is as far as writers and different thing and jobs like that, the AI can just write out the script or the funny bits. I mean, granted, it's still trying to evolve. So, really being funny and really reaching an audience is still something it's evolving for. It'll eventually turn into Skynet and make Terminators to kill us all. But in the meantime, the AI could take over. And I mean, these writers just do write absolute garbage. If any of you have been unfortunate enough to watch a late night show, which the late night shows really haven't been good since Johnny Carson. And then you can make some arguments for Jay Leno and the other ones that kind of carried the torch after he was gone. Jay Leno and the other old shitbag there that's kind of retired now. I think Stephen Colbert took over his show, and they were kind of the torch bearers after Carson, and then this new group took over after and even them. Leno was good. He's a conservative guy, and the other one, why the fuck can't I remember his name? but he took over and he was kind of left leaning, and now these new ones have taken over the Jimmy Fallon, the Stephen Colbert's, the Jimmy Kimmels, and they're all just nothing but radical left wing, and that's the only jokes that you really get. I mean, they might pepper in some against their own party if they did something really stupid, but it's not to the degree that you get of them attacking Trump, attacking conservatives. That's all you get. It's not a late night show. It's just another arm. It's another wing of the Democratic Party. That's all it is in the radical left. So there's no big loss here, and if they utilize the AI the way they want to, I mean, that could replace the writers. So it's kind of a scary concept for people who are worried about will I have a job in 10 years, considering what this thing is going to evolve to be able to do. But the AI could really replace the writers and just write these garbage shows, and the shows can continue on with that, and you need like 5 people to get through all of production, never mind all these people. So be interesting to see how it turns all out. I mean, I say fire them all and just let the AI make shows, but we'll see. So, okay, we're moving on to Tucker Carlson here, because this is something I wasn't able to get to last week, at least not in more detail. So Tucker Carlson, Tucker Carlson has moved on from Fox News. He was let go from Fox News. He's currently suing them for breach of their contract, and releasing some of the tapes and the behind the scenes information, which they claimed that as long as like Tucker kept his mouth shut and didn't do anything, that there were rumors coming from the Fox side that they had information that would be damning to him in their back pocket, and they wouldn't release it as long as he was a good boy and finished out the rest of his contract. Well, some of that video ended up coming out anyway, and it's not nearly as damning as I think they were hoping. In fact, it paints Tucker in an even better light. I mean, some of it makes me laugh because he's being sarcastic and just talking shit about, people are making light of certain things. And I think it actually helps him rather than hurting him. But either way, it was producers from Fox or people that are behind the scenes that ended up releasing this information and releasing these videos. And now Tucker's legal team is suing Fox in order to just get him out of the contract, because with the contract that he's in right now, he can't be employed by another major network while he still has the remainder of his Fox contract expiring. So they're obligated to pay him what they negotiated and agreed to, and he can't go work for a CNN and MSNBC and OAN and Newsmax, anyone that's a competitor. But as we're going to get into, he made an agreement before Musk stepped down and put some other left-wing bitch in charge of Twitter. So Twitter's just going to go back to shit again. But him and Tucker sat down and had a discussion about just doing his own personal news platform on Twitter right now. When I first saw it, I said, you're just going to kind of do your own show willy-nilly on Twitter. Like you're capable of so much more. But as I learned about what some of the shackles are on him, then yeah, that's the best way to go. So he wouldn't be a competitor per se, because he's just starting up his own kind of Substack, subscriber-based news platform where it's just going to be him doing the news. In layman's terms, kind of like I'm doing it right now with all of you, just a guy sitting down with a webcam. Maybe he has a crew of a couple people that are helping out with video and editing and all that, and then he's just live streaming on Twitter and kind of running his own thing there. And it's a little sneak around of his contract that he hasn't joined a competitor, but is still able to do news and make money from that prospect. So you are going to be able to find him on Twitter. That is coming soon. But here's Mark Dice getting into, Mark Dice is a popular conservative YouTuber. Here's Mark Dice getting into a little bit of the Tucker issue here, and take a listen.
Thinking about going solar?
Are you thinking about going solar? Are you thinking about a shit commercial interrupting you while you're trying to do your fucking show? All right.
First of what may be many secret recordings of Tucker Carlson was published, leaked exclusively to Media Matters, the George Soros-funded smear machine. And I'll play the clip in just a moment. As I said last week, any of the recordings, if they get leaked, are only going to make Tucker look cooler.
I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that we watch anyway.
So this is behind the scenes for our audio listeners. He's on the phone right now having a discussion with someone off the air. And he's talking about the Fox Nation app, which I had that prior to Tucker's release, and it was I pretty much only got it to be able to watch Tucker because I don't use cable at all. And the app was garbage. It crashed constantly. You could only get Tucker's episodes after he had already dropped the episode. So if you wanted to see Monday's episode, you had to watch it on Tuesday. And on Fridays, you were really watching that on Saturday because you couldn't watch it live on the app, which you should be able to live stream it. If you're live streaming his show at 8 p.m. on Fox, you should have also been able to watch it on the app if you're paying for the app. Now it had some interesting shows and documentaries and things like that. It was cool, but it was constantly crashing and constantly having issues. So I got rid of it a while ago because of those problems.
We're gonna because I'm like a representative of the American media now, speaking to an exile in Romania and welcoming him back into the brotherhood of journalists.
Okay, he's being sarcastic and extremely passive aggressive.
Yeah, it would help us out if you wore a sweater though, because we asked him not to wear a suit. Like he was panicking about it and said, "You don't have to. Tucker's gonna be looking casual. That's how our show looks." Is that okay?
I mean, this is airing on the nighttime show, and I want it to look official. I don't want it to be like bro talk. And I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the majority of it, like if we go like 45 minutes, it's gonna be.
But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube.
And that's true. He's being sarcastic in some spots, but the Fox Nation app does suck, and he's speaking plainly about the issues about it, and Fox couldn't be bothered to fix the issues or make changes that were necessary to that app to make it more user friendly and be able to use it better.
But anyway, that's just my view. I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. And they're like making like Lifetime movies, but they don't work on the infrastructure of the site. Like what? It's crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's like we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. It's unbelievable, actually. I don't know who runs that site, but.
We're going to play a sizable chunk on the show tomorrow night. That's the plan. And then what it's going to do is drive a lot of people to watch this on Fox Nation. It's going to be a great help to what we're doing over there on today.
I know, but we're doing our part. We're like working like animals to produce all this content, and the people in charge of it, whoever that guy's, whatever his name is, like they're ignoring the fact that the site doesn't work, and I think it's like a betrayal of our efforts. That's how I feel. So of course I resent it.
This could have been leaked by a Tucker loyalist to further pile on pain to Fox News, since they've lost about half of their viewers during his time slot. Or it could have just been another producer like Abby Grossberg, who's trying to sue the network and complains of a hostile work environment over there in order to...
Yeah, Abby Grossberg is the woman that was part of Tucker's staff. She had never met him personally. She's currently suing him. This is the sexual allegation lawsuit that's coming out against him, claiming that nothing even ever happened. There wasn't even physical contact. She's never seen him allegedly person to person. There was just communication between him and friends or other staffers that was like potentially demeaning, or it upset her because she's a snowflake. She just sounds like a leftist bitch who was working for Fox. And a couple people have brought this up, and even on Tim Pool's show as well, that it's like, if you're a conservative show, why wouldn't you vet people through your hiring process to make sure that they're at least also conservative-minded, or at the very minimum, like, neutral? Like, why would you hire snowflakes or LGBTQRSTUV people who are going to end up being a problem for you. At some point, they're going to have a complaint. They're not going to like something someone did, and then it's going to be a problem for you financially. And it just seems like this chick that's doing the lawsuit right now is just one of them. She can't take a joke. She can't be part of the club. She's offended by everything and anything. So that's who he's referencing.
To further pile on Fox News problems. But either way, thank you, whoever leaked this. It's because it's fantastic. The Tucker firing fallout is going to continue for the foreseeable future. And however the liberal media tries to spin it, they're going to look like complete morons. Like the clowns over at Radar Online who just published this exclusive yesterday. His reputation is in tatters. Tucker Carlson's career in turmoil after Fox News firing, as no major networks will touch him. I think you mean he won't touch any major networks. There is no amount of money that ABC, NBC, CBS, any of the brand name networks could pay him to work for them. Newsmax, on the other hand, whose ratings have tripled or almost tripled since the Fox News debacle, obviously wants him to come and work for the network, and he may. And part of their enticement to get him to join isn't just offering him his own show, but they're offering him basically control over the entire network. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ. And I know TMZ is a gossip network, but they actually do have some very good sources. Say that the news channel is doing everything they can to sweeten the deal for Tucker to come aboard, including floating the idea of letting him program the whole channel, not just his own show. And in his video statement that he posted on Twitter, where he first broke his silence, not directly addressing the situation, but just kind of giving a general assessment about the news business, is up to 23.5 million views. So that's over 7 times more viewers than his show in prime time on Fox News. This from the Washington Compost. Fox News is bleeding viewers at 8 p.m. Eastern after ousting Tucker Carlson, who averaged about 3 million viewers a night. And now with the fill-in hosts, it's about half that. This week they decided to put Marble Mouth Lawrence Jones in there for some diversity. So I'm sure that those numbers are going to drop even more.
They said all I needed was a new logo.
Oh. All right, so we'll get into a little bit more of this here.
Sean Hannity celebrated Tucker being fired, and they're not very happy about the unforeseen consequences of losing half of the network's viewers, obviously. But Sean Hannity's a company man. You can see he probably wears his Operation Mockingbird CIA pin there, and didn't like the messages that Tucker was putting out there for the public. Here's Tucker handing off to Sean, whose show followed his, after going on a rant about how Amazon made tons of money during the COVID lockdowns, while average mom-and-pop stores who were forced to close got financially crippled.
John Hannity takes over from New People can make money. They provide goods and services people want, need, and desire. That's America. It's called freedom, capitalism, and as long as it's honest, right? People decide. All right, Tucker, great show. Welcome to Hannity. This is now.
Look at Tucker's disdain for that establishment shill. And at the end of the month, right around the time when the Bilderberg Group is meeting, I'm going to post my annual Bilderberg in-depth expose, in case you haven't seen it over the past few years. And in that video, I'm going to include one of my many phone calls that I made to Sean Hannity back in the day, asking him to address the Bilderberg Group, where the man who pretends to be an expert on the deep state and a political genius just plays dumb and really doesn't want to address the real deep state. This is what Fox News has become. And without a dissenting voice, it's only going to get worse. In case you missed it, this was a promo that Fox News aired last year. Of course, I reported on it.
Okay, so I think he's going to get into, he's going to get into a little more of the Trump town hall and stuff like that. But, so, yeah, there's more tapes of Tucker saying stuff. He was, during one of the Tucker Carlson nightly shows where he does the one-on-one interviews, he made a comment about, I want to look good for my post-menstrual supporters or something, talking about his viewing demographic of older women, and and it wasn't. I don't think it was made mean-spirited. It's behind the scenes. He's chatting with everyone. It's being recorded, even though he's off the air. So really, they shouldn't be recording at that time. But they did anyway. And he was just making a little bit of a glib joke. But a whole bunch of videos are on there that get released from kind of background stuff from his show and from him talking. And really, they're pushing to try and make it really bad. Like it's just sullying his image and his reputation. You know, he said something about hating Trump and not wanting anything to do with him behind the scenes, and then you know, when he's recording and he's live, you know, he's supporting Trump and everything, because he was kind of towing the company line at that point. But if he doesn't like Trump, that's his, you know, he's a journalist, or a more of a kind of a opinion journalist. So it's okay for him to feel that way. I mean, if you don't want to like him because he's not a big fan of Trump, that's your prerogative. But I don't personally have a problem with it. I think he's a strong newscaster. I like his opinions and his mindset and where he's coming from, and he's still got a big future down the road. So to get around some of the shackles right now, he is going to be on Twitter. So look for that. I'm banned off Twitter. I'm on read-only mode because even though Musk took over, you know, he's still a shitbag himself. He only hooks up his friends and people that are like elites. You know, you got a couple million followers. Maybe he'll glance in your direction. But if you're just a regular old Joe here doing a show, you don't matter. And if you say transgenderism is a mental illness, you'll get your page virtually canceled. So, okay, so a little bit more here with the Tucker thing. I don't know if this is any more new information, but Fox News, a recent announcement that he'll be launching a new show on Twitter. So Tucker Carlson's abrupt departure from Fox News and recent announcement that he will be launching a new show on Twitter is an indication of the challenges Carlson faces since he lost his bully pulpit. You know, this is Forbes, so this is a left-wing shit thing. So Carlson follows previous Fox News stars Glenn Beck, Bill O'Reilly, and Megyn Kelly out of the top-rated cable network. All three of them have pretty much disappeared from the political dialogue since leaving. Well, not really. Glenn Beck runs The Blaze now. Bill O'Reilly is doing his own show, and Megyn Kelly is on another network doing her own show. So they're trying to just gloss over it, but that's not accurate. To maintain his relevance and impact in the political landscape of the Republican Party, Carlson has to act quickly. Although Carlson remains in the media limelight for the time being, the political news cycle is oftentimes in overdrive. Without a continuing and sizable platform, Carlson runs the risk of quickly losing his political relevance, as Beck, O'Reilly, and Kelly have. While at Fox News, Carlson typically averaged 3 million viewers during his primetime program, among the highest on cable television. That success will be difficult to replicate. I doubt it. He's already getting millions of views when he posts just a random video on on Twitter. Twitter is an interesting landing spot for Carlson, but it can be a minefield since Elon Musk became CEO of the social media company. It has been draining cash as dozens of blue-chip marketers concerned about brand safety have pulled their ads. In late March, Musk told employees in an email that Twitter was valued at $20 billion. Musk acquired Twitter the previous October for $44 billion. In the aftermath of Carlson's derisive comments about women and race, which has damaged his personal brand, not really. It is doubtful Carlson will bring any new, much-needed ad dollars to Twitter. It is even possible that more marketers will pull their ads. It's just left-wing shit marketers, so who cares? While he was at Fox News, numerous mainstream advertisers fled his show. The commercial loads were oftentimes filled with promos about Fox Nation and direct response ads. Fox News told Variety, since Carlson's departure, dozens of new marketers have been advertising in the 8 p.m. time period. Well, good luck, because there's only going to be about 50 people watching with him gone. During his announcement, when he also berated mainstream media, Carlson called his Twitter show a new version of his television program, which aired for the past 6.5 years. Despite the announcement, Carlson remains under contract with Fox News for $20 million per year. Most importantly, it has been reported Carlson has a pay-or-play clause in his contract prohibiting him from working at any rival media outlet as long as Fox News pays him. Carlson's contract expires in January of 2025 after the next presidential election. So, you know, Fox is going to be able to sideline him for the 2024 election. And Tucker's a big voice with it and an opinion to get out there to the masses and to inform the people. And you hurt the conservative movement if you sideline and gag Tucker Carlson. And that's what Fox is doing if they are able to successfully hold him to his contract and keep him shackled so that he can't really do anything more than run his own private show on Twitter, rather than going to a larger company or starting his own company and then being a direct competitor with them. And anyone that's left any of this, I mean, Fredo Como there is on some shit site doing, nothing. No one cares. Don Lemon is fired, so he's probably crying into his boyfriend's shoulder and trying to figure out what to do with himself. But he really won't go anywhere either, even if he's picked up by some other shit site. They'll pay maybe half of what he was getting before. Tucker is still among the top, and his viewer base is going to follow him. I mean, as of right now, Fox has lost a significant amount in viewership, and they've got some new, the black guy they were showing, the diversity hire. They had some new shitbag there that no one cares about, and some people have said when Bill O'Reilly left Fox, he was a big time opinion journalist as well. They lost a lot of viewers then, and over several years they bounced back again. So, the chances are that they're going to bounce back from the loss of Tucker? Maybe. I mean, I'm never going to go back to Fox News as a viewer to watch anybody else. Sean Hannity is an old dog Republican. He's there for a paycheck, not because he believes. And Laura Ingraham is just an angry white lady. That has even less of appeal really than Hannity does. So Fox doesn't really seem to have anything going for them. So they're definitely taking a dive right now. So they got beat out at one point, at one particular time slot, I think by CNN. So the hurt is still happening for them over there from making the stupid decision of getting rid of Tucker. And, I don't want conservative news sites to crash because there's not enough of them. There are way too many leftist media sites, the CNN, the MSNBC, and crap like that, and not enough conservative ones. So, I'm torn about the whole thing. I want Fox to suffer for making a stupid decision and getting rid of someone like Tucker, but I also don't want to see them completely crash because we need the conservative voice out there. So, just basically, let's see if they sink or swim. I think they'll inevitably keep swimming, even if it means a drop in viewership for a while they try to recover or try to find another diamond in the rough like Tucker that will draw people over there, like a Greg Gutfield or something. He's on the Fox 5 or something like that, and he was kind of doing his own show. Very funny guy, very popular. I mean, he's a draw. If you had him in a time slot like Tucker had, and then doing news but also bringing his comedic spin to it, that could be a big deal. So, there's something there if they can get a draw like that. So, speaking of Ingram, she tortures woke transformers, shoving pronouns down kids' throats with corrosive lies. Now, I couldn't believe this, but I probably should have believed it. And in fact, offhand in a previous show, I don't remember which one it is, my whole catalog is up there for everyone. If you go on to Buzzsprout and find Relief Valve Podcast, you can find my entire catalog from the very beginning when I started the show to present date. And I did an episode, and also, aside from the ones that were deleted, the ones that got removed are still on audio. But the ones that were removed on YouTube are gone because they wiped them out on YouTube and on Rumble because it automatically uploads from YouTube to Rumble because I'm not casting independently on Rumble yet. I need to increase the followers on there. That's why it's so important to like and subscribe to the show if you like it, or tell your friends and family who want to listen as well. Because if I have any issues on YouTube, as long as I've got enough to meet the minimum requirement on Rumble, I can live stream directly to Rumble. And that way, Rumble is a free speech platform. I don't have to worry about things over there. and it won't matter if I'm sidelined on YouTube. I can still reach everyone on Rumble. So make sure you're following on both, and we're getting new followers over there. But anyway, I had done a show at one point where I was making a joke about Transformers, or like, trannyformers. Like, one of the Transformers ended up being a transgender Transformer. And now they've actually, I don't know if they watched my show and I gave them the idea. If I did, I apologize. But now they've taken the animated Transformer show and they've put in pronouns. They've put in like a non-gender specific person or transformer. I think it was a transformer saying that I don't subscribe to one gender or the other. I'm neutral. It's transgendertron. But let's see. Let's see if this will play and cooperate, or I'm going to get another shit commercial. I'm sure I will. Possible for a shit commercial? All right, so while that's playing, during Friday's edition of the Ingram Angle, host Laura Ingram spotlighted the children's show Transformers Earthspark for its decision to roll out non-binary characters that go by, here it is.
Often ask yourself, well, what do my kids need? A loving family, a roof over their heads, a life grounded in faith and freedom. But you probably never thought what they really, really need is a non-binary robot. But that's exactly what Paramount thinks they need, because in Transformers Earthspark, that's what they're giving them. The series is made for kids ages 7 and up, and here they are introducing a character named Nightshade last November.
Nightshade's pronouns are they, them.
He or she just doesn't fit who I am.
My apologies. Please switch their piece.
And if you thought that was the end of it, well, the show's...
My apologies, transgendertron.
In a recent episode.
Ooh, I like your pins. I am Nightshade. My pronouns are they, them.
Thanks. I'm Sam. I'm she, they, but you already know that.
Yeah, we already knew that, because the show is shoving these inane pronouns down the throats of 7-year-olds. I mean, we're lucky you can get them to spell the regular pronouns and get those straight before we... Yeah. Well, our children are being taught this in our schools, and now in a kid's show. So what's next? Well, this isn't normal. It's not trendy. It's not cool. These are destructive and corrosive lies. And they're only going to end when enough responsible adults say, cut it out, we're not funding this anymore. So don't be afraid to stand up and say that.
All right, so there we go. Transgendertron is now on Earthspark. So we've got a tranny transformer now on a kids show. So it isn't enough that they're pushing the trans agenda on children in kids shows, and it's been all across the spectrum with these shows. It's been Blue's Clues, it's been Sesame Street. Now you're seeing it in animated Transformers, which is even more ridiculous because they're fucking robots. They don't need a gender. I know that there's been, in the movies and in the show from when we were kids, and all of the Transformers were straight back then. I know all of the Transformers have turned into trannies now. But back when we were young and all the Transformers were straight, or as straight as a machine could be, there were female Transformers, or one that just showed you that they were very clearly feminine, and then the other ones that were male. And you know what? You can argue they're machines, so you don't really have to have a male and female one. It's not like they're getting it on with a candlelit dinner or something. But to start putting in the woke bullshit now, and turning them trans, or introducing the pronouns, it's just a sick, disgusting thing. And even more ridiculous that you're doing it with a bunch of fucking robots. It's just crazy. As a parent, you often ask yourself, what do my kids need? A loving family, a roof over their heads, a life grounded in faith and freedom. But you probably never thought what they really, really need is a non-binary robot. But that's exactly what Paramount thinks they need, because in Transformers Earthspark, that's what they're giving them, Ingram said in Friday's show. And we just went over a little bit of that. Despite the show being catered to children ages 7 and up, Transformers Earthspark decided to introduce their first non-binary character last November. Nightshade's pronouns are they, them, one character said. Nightshade. It sounds like a drag show dancer that wants to meet your kids. He or she just doesn't fit who I am, Nightshade explained. A third character, Optimus Prime, apologized for misgendering the robot. I'm sorry. We're here to save Cybertron and the human race, but I am really sorry about your pronouns. Then correcting himself, my apologies. Please switch their piece, he said. Show creators did not stop there and saw fit to reinforce the message in a recent episode. Oh, I like your pins, a robot said in reference to the character's LGBTQ pins. I'm Nightshade. My pronouns are they and them. Would you like to be mentally ill with me? Thanks, I'm Sam. I'm she, they, and I'm mentally ill as well, and my parents abuse me. But you already know that, the character said, referring to her she, they pin on her bag. Laura Ingram weighed in, claiming the show is inappropriately shoving liberal ideologies down young kids' throats. Yeah, it's pretty blatant. We already knew that because the show is shoving these insane pronouns down the throats of 7-year-olds. I mean, we're lucky to even get them to spell the regular pronouns and get those straight, she argued. So, it's just disgusting to see this garbage in there. And they're trying to reinforce this for the kids. The parents that are already mentally abusing their kids by pushing them and making them have all the pronouns and making them trans and all of that. And then when you shove all these shows in their face, or you got your weird pink-haired teacher, tranny teacher, also shoving this ideology in down your throat, you ended up being surrounded by a bubble of just mentally ill people telling you this is perfectly fine and is perfectly normal. And when you're dropped into the pit of insanity, it's very hard to know what's up and what's down, and define sanity and find your way out. And this is how you indoctrinate these kids, and then you keep the indoctrination going long term. So it starts with these parents who mentally abuse their kids, and that's what it is. If you're turning your kid trans, if you're letting them have their pronouns and they don't know what their gender is, you are mentally abusing your child. And then they watch TV, and now instead of getting, the old normal shows, He-Man, G.I. Joe, like the normal stuff, now you're getting this crap shoved down your throat. So now you got the parents doing it, you got your show saying it's okay to be LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign. And then you're going to school, and your pink-haired teacher is going, oh, yeah, what are your pronouns? And yada, yada. And you're engulfed and surrounded in this world, but it all seems perfectly normal. The kid that's straight and going, what are you doing? What's your deal? Is like, he's bad. He's mean. And I shouldn't talk to him or have anything to do with him because he just doesn't get it. This is the new world now. And in a way, that you're right. That person's right. Because you've been surrounded by it and immersed in it. And when you're up to your shoulders in the mud, it's extremely difficult to fight your way out. And your perspective also becomes, this is my life now, I'm trapped. There's no way out of this. And that's what's happening to these kids. This is all in part of the indoctrination method in putting it into these shows and expanding it the way it is. And it's disgusting. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. Do you think it's not that big of a deal that the robot is non-gender, non-binary, and there's a little girl in there who's LGBTQ? Write in on the comments or write into the show and let me know what your opinion is. I want to hear from the listeners, and I'd like you all to become more involved with the show. So chime in and let me know what you think. So going to the border crisis here, as you know, it's out of control over there. Dementia Joe sent 1,500 troops to the border, but it is not what you think. The optics of it are to make it look like he's trying to get in control over there and he's taking action. And really, the 1,500 that are being sent are paper pushers. They're taking everybody in, setting them up with their free cell phone and the app that they have to track their court date, which could be like a year to 2 years from now as you enter the country. And you're supposed to report to your immigration court date, and many of these people will not do that. If you're already ignoring our laws and sneaking into this country, why would you like to start following laws after the fact? So the 1,500 are just paper pushers, and that's just supposed to free up the border agents to do their job. But they're overwhelmed as well. And really, it was one of the guys from Alex Jones's show from InfoWars. He was actually live at the border, and he showed the border crews and the police parking border patrol trucks in front of them in the press to block their view, so that they could move illegals onto these buses, fill up these buses, and then just ship them to different states or different towns. And they were trying to show what was going on over here. But let's get into this. Biden heads to the beach after shattering all-time record with 83,000 illegal aliens storming the border in 1 week. President Joe Biden reportedly spent his weekend at his beach home in Delaware, which is guarded by a taxpayer-funded wall, after forcing immigration officials to work on weekends to deal with the illegal immigration crisis that his policies have caused. The crisis on the southern border has erupted into a full-blown humanitarian and national security crisis, as more illegal aliens stormed the southern border this week than any other week in U.S. history. Border Patrol reports a record-setting 83,000 migrants crossed our border illegally this week alone. Just to put that number in perspective for you, that is equivalent to a full-capacity Dallas Cowboys football stadium crossing our border in a single week. Fox News correspondent Bill Malugin reported.
Brett, good evening to you. Border Patrol reports a record-setting 83,000 migrants crossed our border illegally this week alone. Just to put that number in perspective for you, that is equivalent to a full-capacity Dallas Cowboys football stadium crossing our border in a single week. Downtown Brownsville, Texas today, where evidence of mass migrant releases is everywhere you turn. Large amounts of mostly Venezuelan migrants can be seen wandering with folders containing DHS paperwork after their release from federal custody. That's despite claims from the White House that such releases aren't happening.
The claims that CBP is allowing or encouraging mass release of migrants and is just categorically false. That is not what's occurring.
The migrants themselves say other.
The worst and incompetent press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, the black lesbian who's awful at her job, telling you the truth about what's going on.
I was released this morning. I doubted myself if I was going to be allowed in, but I made it.
But not everyone is smiling. In San Antonio today, Fox cameras were rolling as ICE loaded up a deportation flight with illegal immigrants. As the agency stresses, there are consequences for crossing the U.S. border illegally. Fox News was in Matamoros, Mexico, as Title 42 expired at midnight. We watched as a group of migrants gathered to potentially cross into Brownsville illegally, with one man getting into the water. But Texas National Guard soldiers urged them not to from across the river, as they continue to fortify the U.S. side and physically block illegal crossings.
Right across that river, there's 22,000 people that are camped out.
Fox News also joining a group of GOP senators in Brownsville as the clock ran out on Title 42. The Border Patrol Union took the senators to the major illegal crossing spot in Brownsville, which has since been fortified by the state of Texas. Across the river, flickering flames from migrant camps. Migrants who continue to wait. And Brett, earlier today, the state of Texas...
So, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said Friday's press conference that the 80-year-old president will enjoy a leisurely weekend at his beach home. Tomorrow morning, the president will travel to Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. to deliver the 2023 Howard University commencement address. She said the president will then travel to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where he and the First Lady will remain over the weekend. Biden laughed at the media on Friday as his staff shouted over reporters who were trying to ask him questions about the catastrophe he created on the southern border. Refusing to take any questions from the press, Biden sits and stares at his staff and herds them out of the room. So he sits there smiling like a moron while they're all yelling questions about the border, and he's just smiling because he doesn't give a shit. Biden's refusal to answer questions comes after an explosive report this week revealed that his administration allegedly partnered with Mexican immigration officials to facilitate the orderly migration of hundreds of illegal immigrants into the U.S. Border agents are communicating across the U.S.-Mexico border with Mexican authorities on encrypted messaging platforms to facilitate crowds of migrants entering the United States, according to Mexican officials. I mean, this is treason right here. If you're working with another country to illegally ship their people into this country in blatant violation of our laws, you're a traitor. Never mind the host of other crimes Dementia Joe is accused of right now, and it seems legitimately. A lawsuit brought by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' administration on Thursday against the Biden administration stopped Biden's Department of Homeland Security from being able to release illegal aliens into the U.S. if officials at the border are unable to deal with large influx of people because they are over capacity. Judge Thomas Kent Wetherill II here of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Florida issued the ruling with just a few hours before Title 42. A section of the U.S. Code addressing public health emergencies that was used during the pandemic to help U.S. officials gain better operational control of the border was set to expire. DHS is enjoined from implementing or enforcing the parole policy contained in the May 10, 23 memorandum from U.S. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz titled Policy on Parole with Conditions in Limited Circumstances prior to issuance of charging document Parole with Conditions. Wetherill ruled. This TRO will take effect at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time to correspond with the expiration of the Title 42 order and to give defendants an opportunity to seek an emergency stay from a higher court. And Texas has sent in their own troops in order to try and help here because they cannot rely on the federal government. And there's another story here that's also pertaining to the border. So, Daily Wire reporting, mother of an 8-year-old girl who died in the Biden administration custody. They killed my daughter, she says. The mother of an 8-year-old girl who died in the Biden administration custody this week says that officials repeatedly ignored pleas to get her medical attention. U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced last week that the girl had tragically passed away while she and her family were in custody at the Harlingen station where she experienced a medical emergency. CBP said that the girl was taken to the hospital where she was later pronounced dead. They killed my daughter because she was nearly a day and a half without being able to breathe. Mabel Alvarez Benedicts told the Associated Press. She cried and begged for her life, and they ignored her. They didn't do anything for her. Officials said the girl's diagnosis of influenza did not initially require hospital care. Benedicts claimed that they knew of the girl's heart problems and sickle cell anemia. The family crossed the border on May 9th amid the surge of hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens flooding the U.S. southern border. Benedicts claims she told agents that her daughter was having bone pain, but they wouldn't listen and told her to give her daughter water. I just looked at him, Benedicts complained. How would he know what to do if he's not a doctor? The news comes after a 17-year-old minor from Honduras died in Biden administration's custody last week. Honduras Minister of Foreign Affairs Eduardo Enrique Reina identified the deceased minor as Angel Eduardo Maria Espinosa. Phileas County Sheriff Bob Gualtieri said that the staff at the facility where Rihanna died received an email from his cousin informing them that he had epilepsy. However, the information was missed when a case manager viewed his medical history, leaving staff unaware of the condition, according to a report from the Tampa Bay Times. Espinosa reportedly did not tell anyone about his condition. He reportedly did not have any medication with him either, thus further keeping staff in the dark. He left with his medicine in April, said his mother. Norma Saray Espinosa Maradiaga. Why do they have like 5 things in all of their names? It has to be long and pompous and ridiculous. He had it with him. He died 5 days after being placed in a facility by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. So there you go. They wanted to blame Trump for the mistreatment of migrants at the border, and Biden's people are just leaving children to die. So maybe we should be talking about that. So to the Daniel Penny and the one that choked out the crazy black guy on the subway in New York. Kid Rock is a top donor to Daniel Penny's defense in the New York City subway chokehold death. Penny's Give, Send, Go campaign is the number 2 performer ever for crowdfunding site. So anyone that would like to help this young man who looks like a 30-year-old porn star, but if you want to help him, he's a veteran. If you go to Give, Send, Go and look up his defense fund, you can help to help pay for his lawyers. He's going to have an uphill battle defending himself because he tried to defend innocent people on the subway from a crazy black man that was threatening to kill people. Kid Rock is one of the top donors to Marine veteran Daniel Penny's legal defense fund after the 24-year-old was charged in a New York City subway chokehold death of a homeless man. The Give, Send, Go fundraiser has surpassed $2 million in donations with the help of the musician, who gave $5,000, had a pointed message for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Mr. Penny is a hero. Alvin Bragg is a piece of shit, Kid Rock. The message said. A representative for the American Badass crooner confirmed he was behind the donation. Donations have poured in from all over the country since Penny was charged with second-degree manslaughter Friday for fatally choking Jordan Neely, 30, on a New York City train. So originally, after he and other witnesses, Penny and other witnesses, and the video was provided, he turned himself in willingly. He was detained for a short time while he gave his response to all this and what happened, and then he was released by the police. And then, after a couple of days of this shitbag Bragg, the one that's going after Trump, decided that yes, they were going to charge him with murder anyway. I think again willingly turned himself in with his lawyers, and he's now facing murder charges in New York, which is a bad place because you're going to have a jury of 12 left-wing shitbags who hate that you're white and hate that you did the right thing. Donations have poured in from all over the country since Penny was charged with second-degree manslaughter Friday for fatally choking Jordan Neely, 30, on a New York City train. Prosecutors said Neely, who suffered from mental illness just like the rest of the radical left, had been making threats and scaring passengers. On May 1st, when Penny dragged him to the floor and wrapped his arm around his neck to restrain him. Kid Rock, 52, whose given name is Robert Ritchie, wasn't the only big-name donor. Republican presidential candidate and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, 37, donated $10,000. Here's Vivek here. And he's a pretty smart guy that has that has a lot to say that's all good stuff. So, keep an eye on Vivek during the Republican primaries. So, could be interesting. The Ohio resident said Neely should have been behind bars or in a mental institution, not free to terrorize his fellow citizens. You have an abandonment of the rule of law, he told Fox News Digital. Then someone who tries to assist and protect people based on the current facts we have is now being prosecuted. That represents a perversion of how the system is supposed to work. As of Monday morning, more than 42,000 people had donated to the campaign on the Christian crowdfunding site. Penny's lawyers, Thomas Kenneth and Stephen Razor, launched the fund on Tuesday to raise money to defend their client against criminal charges and potential civil lawsuits. The attorney said any leftover contributions would be donated to a mental health advocacy program in New York City. The fundraiser was boosted Saturday by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Twitter. "We stand with Good Samaritans like Daniel Penny. Let's show this Marine America's got his back," he wrote. Chicago native and political commentator Tim Pool contributed $20,000 Monday. Nice job, Tim. Money, the largest single donation yet. Penny is a subway Good Samaritan, and we are lucky to have brave souls like him who are willing to do the right thing, Poole tweeted after announcing the contribution. Jacob Wells, co-founder of Give, Send, Go, told Fox News Digital that Penny's campaign is the number 2 top performer since the site launched in 2015. At one point, donations were coming in at $1,000 a minute, Wells said. It definitely has sparked an emotional response with many people, he added. The Canadian trucker campaign Freedom Convoy 2022 holds the top spot of all time. Neely's tragic death has divided the city, with many New Yorkers condemning Penny as a murderer while others are calling him a hero. The slain man had been arrested more than 40 times, I think it was 47, and he had a history of violent attacks in the Manhattan subway. One of the most recent ones was him punching a 67-year-old woman in the face, breaking her nose and orbital bone. 4 months earlier, he had hit another woman in the face, according to court records obtained by Fox News Digital. A couple other people also complained that he walked by them and pushed them onto the subway tracks, along with his host of other dangerous criminal acts. So, Penny is a hero, and he just did what everyone wishes they could do, would stand up against these crazy radical left-wingers and actually do what you should be able to do as a human being. Stand up for yourself, and in your own self and body perseverance. Nobody should be able to put their hands on you. No one should be able to harm you, and you shouldn't have your life threatened while you're following the rules, paying your taxes, and going about your daily affairs. You shouldn't have to worry that some shit like that is going to happen. All right. So we're already 50 minutes into it. It's just, oh no, we're an hour into it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we might need to roll everything over to later on in the week here. I want to see what else we've got. We had a 2,000-year-old trade receipt was found in Jerusalem. We're going to look into that. We'll get into that a little later this week. The DOJ turning a blind eye as Biden corruption informant reportedly goes missing. So we've got the corrupt Biden family, and they have a whistleblower talking about their funds here. Brittany Griner returns back to the WNBA. Let's go over this real quick, because who cares about Brittany Griner? But Griner had 18 points and 6 rebounds in her return. The woman who looks like a man. The Phoenix Mercury were on the road to start the 2023 WNBA season as the team took on the Los Angeles Sparks at the Crypto.com arena at the Brittany Griner's official return to the floor. Griner had 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 2 assists in Phoenix's 94-71 loss. But it was a big moment for the former Baylor standout as she returned to the court for the first time since 2021. She missed all of last season as she was jailed in Russia on a drug conviction. She returned to the U.S. in December as part of a prisoner swap for arms dealer Victor Bout, and I talked about him. That was a Lord of War. So we traded the dangerous Lord of War for a stupid lesbo who hates America. Because it was her return, Mercury head coach Vanessa Nygaard was expecting a much fuller arena. I don't know why. Nothing changed. No one gives a shit about women's basketball. I mean, it was great, but honestly, women don't care about women's basketball. Bill Burr made a joke about this. Women, if you want to complain about the lack of support for women's basketball, why don't you start and show up and watch women's basketball? And the answer is they don't want to do that. It's not interesting. It was great, but honestly, come on now, LA. We didn't sell out the arena for BG. Nygaard said, I expected more, to be honest, right? It was great. It was loud, but how was it not a sellout? How was it not a sellout? You already know the answer, you dumbass. And this is another lesbian.
It was great, but honestly, come on, LA. We didn't sell out the arena for BG. I expected more. To be honest, right? It was great. It was loud, but how was it not a sellout? How was it not a sellout?
Not a hard question. You already know the answer. No one cares. Griner said it was nice to be back in a real game, but wanted to pick up the win. It was nice to be back on the court and in a real game and everything. The love from the fans who came out was amazing, and the players, I definitely felt it, and I felt it when I was there in Russia. She said via the Arizona Republic. It was nice, but performance-wise, it wasn't good enough because I couldn't help the team with a dub. The arena could fit 19,068 people, and about 10,000 people came to the game, and they were probably lost and thought there was something else. It's a fucking WNBA game. I thought it was like a carnival or something. According to ESPN, the Sparks' average attendance is more than 5,600. Whoa. The team finished 13 wins, 23 losses last season and haven't been to the playoffs since 2020, coronavirus-impacted season. So there you go. But the good news is apparently she learned a lesson, or at least pretended to learn a lesson, and actually stood up for the national anthem this time. I suppose it was the least we could do for she could do for a god awful trade where we got her back for the Lord of War. We've got new Hunter Biden documents reportedly show a connection with Chinese payments, and the Musk story we're not going to do. And in American military news here, and I saw this coming. I don't know how you didn't see this coming. But it went from Biden saying there's no way we're sending F-16s to Ukraine because it's going to escalate the war. That was probably 6 months ago or a year ago. And now we're going to give Ukraine F-16s. So the Biden administration and U.S. allies will give F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, a senior Biden administration official said, adding that the aircraft may not come from the U.S. directly. According to NBC News, the official said the U.S. and its allies will decide when to actually provide jets, how many we will provide, and who will provide them. Discussions about improving the Ukrainian Air Force reflect our long-term commitment to Ukraine's self-defense, the senior administration official said. In February, President Joe Biden said he was not considering sending F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine amid an ongoing pressure from Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky. He doesn't need F-16s now, Biden said at the time. I'm ruling it out for now. 1 month before Biden's public rejection after securing Western tanks to defend against Russia's invasion, Ukraine requested F-16s and other fighter jets, an advisor to its defense minister said. The next big hurdle will now be the fighter jets, Yuri Sak, an advisor to defense minister Oleksiy Reznikov, Yankee, told Reuters in an interview. If we get them, the advantages on the battlefield will just be immense. It's not just F-16s, fourth-generation aircraft. That is what we want. They didn't want to give us heavy artillery, then they did. They didn't want to give us HIMARS systems, then they did. They didn't want to give us tanks, now they're giving us tanks. Apart from nuclear weapons, there's nothing left that we will not get, Sak said. Yeah, we seem to be willing to just give the corrupt regime in Ukraine whatever the hell they need. Around the same time, Biden made a surprise trip to Kyiv, where he announced billions more in aid for the war-torn nation, more taxpayer dollars wasted. As the world prepares to mark the one-year anniversary of Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, I am in Kyiv today to meet with the President Zelensky and reaffirm our unwavering and unflagging commitment to Ukraine's democracy, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, Biden said in a statement on the unexpected trip, and that was like a week to 2 weeks ago. Oh, okay. So we got an update with the murder here of the murderer Brian Kohberger. Arraignment comes after a grand jury indictment negated his plans to fight the charges at a June hearing. This was the guy that killed 4 female college students. Brian Kohberger, the 28-year-old criminology buff accused of ambushing sleeping college students with a large knife in November, is expected to be arraigned Monday morning on murder and other charges. And if he finally enters a plea, it would trigger a countdown, giving prospectors 2 months to officially announce that they are seeking the death penalty in connection with the ambush slayings of Kaylee Gonclaves and Madison Mogan, both 21, as well as Zana Kernoodle and Ethan Chapman, 20. Upon entry of plea, the most morbid of all clocks starts ticking. The prosecuting attorney has 60 days to file, in writing, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty, said Edwina Elcox, a prominent Boise-based defense attorney who previously represented cult mom Lori Vallow. There are several potential outcomes, although experts say surprises are always possible. He'll likely plead not guilty or not enter a plea at all. A guilty plea would be highly unlikely, given Kohberger's defense team just added the high-powered Eliza Massoff, according to Elcox. Massoff once attended the same college as the 4 victims, is certified to defend death penalty cases, and boasts of being one of the top criminal defense lawyers in Idaho. One of her previous cases includes the overturning of a conviction for a man accused of attempted murder and kidnapping. The case appeared on America's Most Wanted, and he received 4 consecutive life sentences plus 50 years, according to the National Registry of Exonerations. If the entry of a plea is postponed, he would likely be due back in court in a couple of weeks. If he does enter a plea, the 60-day countdown begins for prosecutors to formally file their intent to seek the death penalty. Okay, so there's nothing else much new other than they're going into deliberations and they're making their pleas right now. So before we get to the newest part of our conspiracy theory, and we're just gonna continue on with the Illuminati a little bit here is my girlfriend and I were having, just to kind of get off all the craziness of everything going on in the world and talk about just kind of something funny, a little topic of conversation for everyone. But we were talking about like me getting sun when I'm out working in the yard because we got chickens, and we're trying to become as self-sufficient at the house as we can, right? So we got our own well. I eventually want to upgrade to solar. I know if there's an EMP and it knocks out power, that's there goes the solar. But at least we can get off the grid a little bit and get away from these electric companies that are jacking up everyone's prices. So I'm eventually going to solar. We've got the well, and I've bought the chickens now. We're raising chickens, and I'm buying a coop in a couple of weeks and doing the whole setup out in the yard. And then we'll be producing our own eggs. So we'll have food and protein for the family. We're starting a garden. All of those kind of prepper things that I recommend everyone should do in the way that the tact that the world is taking, and who knows what it could turn into, right? So having your own little self-sufficient area could be, if you're able to do it, really great for you and your family. But so we're talking about me getting sun, working out in the yard and everything, and I just said, how come I can't just walk around in the nude on my own property? Why can't I do that? Not that I want to. I'm just saying, why can't I? I'm on my property. I understand I'm in public, right? Bunny ear quotes here. I'm in public, but I'm on my own private property. So if you're driving by, I mean, that's really your problem. I didn't tell you to drive by. You know what I mean? I didn't put the street there. It's there next to my property. And she was saying, well, no, it's still basically exposure, at least as far as we know. You could be labeled a sex offender if you're seen by people or somebody puts in a complaint or something, And I just thought that was a little crazy because really within reason, right? You should be able to do whatever you want on your property. I mean, there are women who sunbathe in the nude, and I'm not aware that anything happens to them. I mean, I think it's more likely that people aren't going to complain if you have a woman sunbathing topless. But still, the woman is nude, at least for the upper half. And if they're in view of others, they're exposing themselves to other people in the community. But nothing ends up happening. So I'm just curious about, like, how does the law work for that? Are you in like this gray area where you're safe? You can act like you're on a nudist colony as long as you're on your own property, or if you have the potential of being in view of some people, that you have some sort of violation. I'd be interested in what people have to say. Write into the show, reliefvalvepodcast@aol.com, and let me know if you're aware of. I'm sure I could just look up local laws where I am. And see what specifically what it says for something like that. But I'm just curious. Like, it's your own property. You should kind of be able to do whatever you want. But it was just kind of a funny conversation we were having. And then I found this I found this article here. This is a man up on Reddit is upset that he can't sleep in the nude with his new neighbors nearby. Only so much I can do. Some 15,000 people weighed in with the reaction and comment to a 28-year-old's dilemma. A man who shared a rather intriguing dilemma on social media cannot understand why others aren't more charitable toward his personal sleeping preferences. I'm a 28-year-old dude, he wrote on Reddit, and have been living in my house for a few years now. He said, one of the main reasons I chose this place was because my bedroom faced east, allowing me to wake up in the morning sunlight. He added, most mornings I wake up before my alarm goes off just because the sunlight coming through the window wakes me up. There used to be a tree line that provided a natural barrier between my house and any potential neighbors, so I never saw the need for curtains or blinds. Along with that, they are expensive as hell for the nice ones. Recently, he went on, my neighborhood expanded and most of the... Recently, he went on, my neighborhood expanded and most of the tree line that my bedroom was facing was cut down to build new houses. He did not share his location. Now, as a result, he said, there's a house that's been built right across from mine, and their window has a clear view into my bedroom. The young man went on, I've always been comfortable sleeping nude, and it wasn't an issue when there were no neighbors around. Yet, not long after the people moved in, the father from the house came over to my house and pretty much told me to stop being nude in front of my windows since his family can see inside my bedroom. The 28-year-old added he wasn't nice about it, but he wasn't mean either. Just matter-of-factly gave me an order and fully expected it to be done like I was his kid or employee. The man on Reddit noted that he was somewhat surprised but understood his concern, so I made an effort to be more mindful of my nudity when in view of the window. He also said I stopped cleaning and making my bed before getting dressed. I'd hop out of bed, walk into my closet, and at least put shorts on. So prior to that, he would clean up and remake his bed completely nude. Then go about my morning chores. The man went on, that being said, I still sleep nude, and I occasionally end up being visible to the neighbors for a brief moment after waking up. Which is why, he continued, the father came over again, leading to an argument between us. I told him I was trying my best to be considerate, but there's only so much I can do. And that it's my house and I'm not changing my lifestyle because they moved in. The man on Reddit said the neighbor threatened to call the police and said I was being a menace to the neighborhood, whatever the hell that means, he said. Added the young man to others on the platform, so am I the asshole for continuing to sleep nude even though my neighbors can see into my bedroom? A father of 4 in New York weighed in on the dilemma and said he does not agree with either man in this scenario. The man who sleeps in the nude should use blinds or shades for privacy, he said. Meanwhile, the father who came over to talk to the young man should mind his own business, the father of 4 added in comments to Fox News Digital. Fox News Digital also reached out to a clinical psychologist for insight. Dr. Phil, what is it exactly that makes you want to flash your private parts in front of the neighbors across the street? Why do you feel like you don't have to buy shades or have curtains? Is it because your mama didn't hug you enough? The fuck do you need a clinical psychologist for? The guy wants to be nude in his fucking house. What? I'm choking myself to death. We need a clinical psychologist to break all of this down? He wants to be nude in his own home. The fuck does it matter what his reasons are? On Reddit, some 15,000 people weighed in with reactions, while over 5,500 shared specific comments about this thorny neighborhood situation. The quite thorny. Wrote one person, addressing the original poster, I'm sure you can solve this problem so you don't flash your neighbors. You act like there's no middle ground here when there clearly is. Sheer curtains, window film, etc. A poster going by the username of Ave667 told the original poster, curtains exist to let in the sunlight and also just show shadows. Whether they, the new neighbors, have curtains or not isn't the issue. They may be in their backyard or outside and can see you. Okay. The user added, you can sleep nude and walk around your house nude, but why do you feel the need to show off your nudity to the world? I wouldn't want to see my neighbors naked, the Reddit writer added. The writer went on, unless you live in a nudist colony, there are children around, so I really don't understand. You need to expose yourself to the outside world. Wrote someone else in the same vein, time to buy some curtains, and the menace to the neighborhood thing, since you've been informed that your new neighbors, including children, can see into your windows. By continuing to not put up curtains and be naked in front of them, you're kind of knowingly exposing yourself to unconsenting parties, including minors. Not a good look. Get curtains. Wrote still someone else, the neighborhood has changed, not your fault, but it's time for blinds. Another person tried to educate the man on the legal implications of his action, so let's see what they have to say here. Let's see. Another person tried to check your local laws. Not sure where you are, but you can be charged for public indecency. If you are aware that you can be seen from the outside naked and you continue to expose yourself. See, that's the thing with the house thing. Like, I agree with both people in this situation. You should be able to do whatever you want within the privacy of your home, but also from, especially the parent standpoint of them having a family and having kids, it would be extremely disturbing that my kids can, like, just look out their window, or we can be in the backyard barbecuing, and then, you know, the weird naked dude kind of just zips by his window real quick as he's getting in and out of bed or whatever it is, because the dude has no curtains at all for his bedroom. So this is why I'm split on this topic, and why the charges of public indecency while you're in your own home. Like, I should be able to stand in my window and flash people driving by. Like I'm in my, maybe I'm wrong about that. You can write into the show and comment and let me know what some of your thoughts are. But as long as I'm on my property or in my house, you should be exempt from these things. Like what I'm doing personally, not dragging someone else in here and forcibly doing that to them. But if I'm just here and I'm doing whatever, right? I'm not going to walk around nude. But let's say I was walking nude around my yard. Like, I should technically be able to do that. It's my property. If there are other houses and you're in sight of that, well, I'm paying for this property, not you. So if you don't like it, don't look. Or put up a privacy fence, or I can put up a privacy fence, or, because, like, I think about this. If you've got a jacuzzi, right, and you just want to go skinny dip with your girl or something, so you both run out in towels and you jump into the jacuzzi. You're both naked at this point, because this was your plan, right? You're both technically nude in public at this point. It's not easy to see because you can only see the upper torso. And anyone that's driving by, the street that's going by your house, many of us have that. I'm on a nearly dead-end road. There's very little traffic that goes down my road. But you get occasional cars and driver-bys and people from the neighborhood. So, but if you're nude in the jacuzzi and you drive by, you're not going to see anything but my upper torso, right? So it just looks like I'm in the pool or I'm using a jacuzzi as normal, but I'm completely nude. So technically, the spy satellites can see me, right? But it's, you're nude in public, but you're not, like, you are, but you aren't, because you're in, like, this gray area where people don't know that. Therefore, you have not offended anyone that's driving by or that is within eyeshot of it. Like, it's just, I would never do any of those things, but I just think that within reason, you should be able to do whatever you want in your own home and in your own property. But also, this family that's adjacent to him has got a point. I mean, the guy had the perfect setup until land developers came in and tore all the trees down and parked the family right in his backyard. So, that's kind of fucked up for him too, because he was good up until that point. But I think both sides have a point here. But I'm curious about what you all think. Should you be able to do pretty much whatever you want on your own property? Or are there limitations and, there should be a curtain here for them or a curtain here for you? And then once your curtain's up, you have a little bit of that privacy shell. You can be naked all day. No one gives a fuck, right? But write into the show. Let me know what you think. ReliefValvePodcast@AOL.com. The writer went on, while you have the right to privacy and you can do whatever you want in your own home, that right does not apply when there is no expectation of privacy, such as when you leave your curtains drawn. Wrote another commentator directly to the Reddit poster, you make it sound like you live in a bubble. We live in a society, and just because technically you can do whatever you want in your house doesn't mean it doesn't suck for your neighbors. If you can afford to buy a house, you can buy some cheap sheer curtains. So, there you go. Let me know what you think. We're going to get to these stories a little later on in the week. What do we got? The U.S. releases footage of the largest non-nuclear bomb hitting an ISIS turret. That's interesting. All right, we're an hour and 22 minutes in. All right, let's go to this last part here, kind of very quickly. Comfort of your sake. All right, fuck off. Our conspiracy theories portion of the show. So we're continuing on with the Illuminati here, and this is the one where I don't have a lot of personal knowledge about. We talked about Galileo being part of the original Illuminati, which was just the illuminated ones, and that was people being able to talk about science. And, anything that wasn't created by God was, in the church's eyes, was blasphemy for these other people. And that's why this original Illuminati, if they did really exist, We're just trying to share science with each other outside of the gaze and control of the church. But we'll go to the more established Illuminati here. The Illuminati, plural of Latin illuminatus, enlightened, is a name given to several groups, both real and fictitious. Historically, the name usually refers to the Bavarian Illuminati, an Enlightenment-era secret society founded on May 1st, 1776, in Bavaria, today part of Germany. The society's stated goals were to oppose superstition, obscurantism, religious influence over public life, and abuses of state power. The order of the day, they wrote in their general statutes, is to put an end to the machinations of the purveyors of injustice, to control them without dominating them. The Illuminati, along with the Freemasonry and other secret societies, were outlawed through edict by Charles Theodore, Elector of Bavaria, with the encouragement of the Catholic Church. In 1784, 1785... And then for 2 years, this is the part I laughed at. For 2 years, it was fine. It was banned in 1784. You cannot be the Illuminati in 1785. You can still not be the Illuminati. And in 1786, it's okay to be the Illuminati. You can be for 1 year. You can be Illuminati. In 1787, stop being the Illuminati. And then 1790, 2 more years. Okay, fine. I don't fucking care. Be the Illuminati for a couple more years. In 1790, stop being the fucking Illuminati again. I don't know why there are gaps. They took a break in between that time, and it was fine to be that. During subsequent years, the group was generally vilified by conservative and religious critics who claimed that the Illuminati continued underground and were responsible for the French Revolution. Many influential intellectuals and progressive politicians counted themselves as members, including Ferdinand of Brunswick and the diplomat Franz Xavier von Zach Schnell, who was the order's second in command. It attracted literary men such as Johann Wolfgang von Goethe and Johann Gottfried Herder, and the reigning Duke of Gotha and of Weimar. In subsequent use, Illuminati has been used when referring to various organizations, which are alleged to be a continuation of the original Bavarian Illuminati, though these links have not been substantiated. These organizations have often been accused of conspiring to control world affairs by masterminding events and planting agents in government and corporations in order to gain political power and influence and to establish a new world order. Central to some of the more widely known and elaborate conspiracy theories, the Illuminati are depicted as lurking in the shadows and pulling the strings and levers of power. This view of the Illuminati has found its way into popular culture, appearing in dozens of novels, films, television shows, comics, video games, and music videos. The origins have Adam Weishaupt became professor of canon law and practical philosophy at the University of Ingolstadt in 1773. He was the only non-clerical professor at the institution run by Jesuits, whose order Pope Clement the 10th, 15th, the 16th, my Roman is rusty, had dissolved in 1773. The Jesuits of Ingolstadt, however, still retain the purse strings and some power at the university, which they continue to regard as their own. They made constant attempts to frustrate and discredit non-clerical staff, especially when course material contained anything they regarded as liberal or Protestant. Weishaupt became deeply anti-clerical, resolving to spread the ideals of the Enlightenment through some sort of secret society of like-minded individuals. Finding Freemasonry expensive and not open to his ideas, he founded his own society, which was to have a new order, was Bunder Perfeblisten, or Covenant of Perfectibility. He later changed it because it sounded too strange, a little bit. On May 1st, 1776, Weishaupt and 4 students formed the Perfectionabilists, taking the Owl of Minerva as their symbol. The members were to use aliases within the society. Weishaupt became Spartacus. Law students Meishausen, Bolhoff, Mers, Sutor became respectively Ajax, Agathon, Tiberius, and Erasmus. Rotterdamus. Weishaupt later expelled Sutor for indolence. You are insolent and indolence! Out with you! In April 1778, the order became the Illuminat Norden, or Order of Illuminati, after Weishaupt had seriously contemplated the name B Order. It's fucking weird. Maushausen proved initially the most active in expanding the society. Significantly, while studying in Munich, shortly after the formation of the order, he recruited Xavier von Zwack, a former pupil of Weishaupt. At the beginning of Zwack's significant administrative career, at the time he was in charge of the Bavarian National Lottery, Mosshausen's enthusiasm soon became a liability in the eyes of Weishaupt, often resulting in attempts to recruit unsuitable candidates. Later, his erratic love life made him neglectful, and Weishaupt passed control of Munich Group to Zwack. It became clear that the Mosshausen had misappropriated subscriptions and intercepted correspondence between Weishaupt and Zwack in 1778. Oh, boy. Mosshausen graduated and took a post outside Bavaria, taking no further interest in the order. At this time, the order had a nominal membership of 12. With the departure of Mosshausen, Zwack immediately applied himself to recruiting more mature and important recruits. Most prized by Weishaupt was Hertel, a childhood friend and a canon of the Munich Frankenschau. By the end of summer 1778, the order had 27 members, still counting Mosshausen in 5 commands. Mosshausen in Athens, Ingolstadt, Eleusis, Ravensburg, Sparta was not where they were, it was their code names. Freysingen, Thebes, in Istite, Erzurumum. During this early period, the order had 3 grades of novice, minerval, and illuminated minerval, of which only the minerval grade involved a complicated ceremony. It was this candidate was given secret signs and a password. A system of mutual espionage kept Weishaupt informed of the activities and characters of his members. His favorites became members of the ruling council of Areopagus. Some novices were permitted to become insinuants. Christians of good character were actively sought, with Jews and pagans specifically excluded, along with women, monks, and members of other secret societies. Favored candidates were rich, docile, willing to learn, and age 18 to 30. So it goes on for quite some time about their history, but there's the proper history and gathering together of the Illuminati. So, you can learn about it and read into it more, and let me know what your thoughts are on it, and if you believe that Galileo started the first one. Does the Illuminati still exist now? And has it, does it still exist on its own, or was it absorbed into the Freemasons when they kind of fell apart and were attacked by the church and other groups, and now still exist to this day? So there's the conspiracy theory. We'll have a new one for next Sunday, hopefully with the family obligations out of the way. I can get back to the regular Sunday show. So this has been the Shitbag Roundup. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to our sponsors. I Love What I Do Media and Buzzsprout. Their links are all in the show notes, and check them out. And we appreciate it. All right, everyone. Have a good work week. Happy Monday. Time to go get our asses kicked. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.